Welcome, fans. We're back live once again on the Cheap Heat Productions podcast network. My name is Jack Kilby, no gimmicks guy on the socials. And I've got a very special guest today, an individual who is becoming the standout or one of the standout stars of Juggalo Championship Wrestling. And she's not an overnight success, has quite a story to tell. But man, is she making an impression on not only the Juggalo fans, but the wrestling business in general. And I would be talking about none other than the Black Dahlia or the Ring Rat, whichever you prefer, Paige Collett. Paige, thanks so much for coming on today.
Hi, guys. Hey, thanks for having me on.
Well, we appreciate it. You trained under, a Hall of Famer, actually a couple of Hall of Famers, I think, in Rikishi and Funaki. How did that experience approach change or result in your approach to wrestling, especially in a promotion that like JCW that is so different from the mainstream? Were you prepared for your current endeavors?
Oh gosh, this is such a mixed question. No, I love this. So when I got involved with wrestling, I wasn't even a fan of wrestling. I never watched it growing up. I wasn't a mark. Like, I actually was brought up with a theater background. I was brought up with like ballet, tap, jazz, gymnastics. I played sports such as volleyball, softball, basketball from elementary school all the way up to senior year. And then when at the age of 18, and it was time to, go off to college, instead of pursuing like a scholarship with my athletic background and going to college and, I don't know, getting a degree, becoming a nurse or something, I became a wrestler. So when I took initiative to train, I knew I wanted it to be a career. I knew I wanted to make a living out of this. I knew I didn't want to just half-ass this. So when I trained under Funaki, when I trained under Rikishi, I had the mindset of, this is going to be my job. This is what I want to do. And this is, I'll try to be the best at it as possible. So that's was my mindset in school. And that was my mindset when I pursued my career as a wrestler. But, now seeing change, I'm a grown adult. I have such a life experience with everything I went through, with my accident, with everything that's happened to me in between. Getting onto JCW is just wow. It's such a blessing. I know how lucky I am, and I know how blessed I am, and I tell people this all the time. And we live in a world of workers. So we live in a world of liars and manipulators. So it's really hard to see the genuine. But when there is a genuine person in the room, like it's me. Because I'm just like, oh my God, like, how exciting is it that we're here? How what a blessing. And I genuinely mean that. This is my WWE. This is my opportunity. So yes, I was trained under Funaki, and he was preparing, like, he trained us like we were at the Performance Center. He trained us strictly like NXT style, like he said it back in the day. When I trained under Rikishi, he said your goal should be WWE. Like, that's how he trained us. So JCW, wow, I did just to be involved with the, like, I feel like I was kind of like made for this. I was kind of prepared for this. And the brand of JCW, with Vince Russo there, with Violent J, all of them, the masterminds together, it's I feel like it's a touch of the attitude era of WWE, but I'm still exploring it. I'm still learning, and I'm very much new, and I'm excited to be here.
And we'll get into JCW in detail, of course, but you touched upon the fact that you've had some huge sacrifices. You talked about sleeping in your car, being the starving wrestler, pursuing wrestling, so to speak. So you're not an overnight deal. But what kept you motivated during those toughest early days that can break people's spirits? And has that grind influenced yourself as a performer today?
I always tell people, if you want it, it'll be yours, like truly, because there's no excuse for failure, because in the end you don't fail. Like if you truly want something, like you can, if you work hard enough, if you grind hard enough, if you manifest and speak into existence, and just there's no reason why you can't obtain that. So for those that don't know of my story, I very much was homeless at the age of 18. I have this whole backstory that you guys will be able to read in my book coming out, Wrestling with CRPS. I cover all of this. I had all the odds against me. I'm not a second, third, fourth generation wrestler. I don't have a single family member that was a fan, let alone a worker themselves. Like my family, you might have heard of Hulk Hogan, and that was it. Like if it was not on mainstream, you never heard of them. So being at the mercy of the industry, and that's all I had. Being brought up by the carnies, being brought up in this industry from the age of 18 and on, it really molded me for sure. But what kept me afloat during these times, what kept me alive during these times, was of course my passion and my love for this business. I fell in love with this business. I dedicated my whole entire existence for wrestling. I knew this is what I wanted to do. So it wasn't a question of sleeping out of your vehicle. It wasn't a question working night shift at Walmart, because that's the only shoot job you could get at the time. It wasn't a question to put all my money into wrestling school and going days without food. So I don't believe people need to suffer to be great. I think that's a load of shit. I think that it's unfortunate how hard things can be. It's unfortunate how difficult things can be. So, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Like, no, we do not have to suffer like that. We did not have to go through that. But for sure, it has humbled me to no end, experiencing what I have experienced while being exposed to the elements, while trying to pursue this career. So, uh, I I feel like if anyone's watching that wants to pursue this, do it, but do it the correct way. Go and get trained. Go research these schools. Go and commit. Make sure you have some kind of steady income. Make sure you have a support team, like people that actually support you. Your mental health is very valuable when you get involved with this business. So,
Mm.
um, my suffering and definitely created this. So I created this monster, but I'm thankful for the life lessons, but I definitely wish I didn't have to have the trauma.
Mm, makes sense. Speaking of trauma, you just touched on it. You had that devastating in-ring injury and came down with the diagnosis of CRPS, which
Correct.
I understand is also wrestling with CRPS is going to be title of your forthcoming book. How
Yes.
did such a traumatic event change your perspective on resilience, pain management, and ultimately getting back into the ring? Because many folks would be gun shy after something like that.
For sure. Good question. It changed me forever. Being activating a neurological disease, it's permanent. There's no cure. Wrestling did this to me. You could have a heart attack, or you could sprain your ankle, whatever the case may be. That's how you, any form of trauma can activate this rare disease. So when you when mine was activated in a wrestling ring, wrestling did this to me. And it's like, wait,
Mm,
but I love wrestling. I love wrestling. I sacrificed everything for wrestling. I didn't take the easy way out. I didn't play the politics. I didn't sleep with anyone and play the politics and then lie and manipulate and cheat and backstab and get my spot. I was working for my spot. I was scrubbing toilets for my spot. I was bleaching out the mats for my spot. I was sleeping out of my vehicle in the daytime in LA, Los Angeles heat, with no air conditioning for my spot. I worked my butt off just to be put in a wheelchair and not have a wrestling career. Like wrestling does not owe us anything, but wrestling took everything from me. I sacrificed and did more than a lot of people with careers have ever done. And I don't need a violin played for me. I don't need the status, but to not even have a career after doing it the correct way, doing it the right way. I wanted to be a professional. I wanted to be the best. I was an athlete. I was an actor. I wanted to do this. And to be not only injured but and then robbed of a career, but to be activated a rare disease and it turned out to be the most painful disease known to mankind. It's the most perplexing thing to ever happen. And then to go so long undiagnosed, to have this disease spread, to be abandoned by the medical community in that wheelchair. It was it was a difficult time, and my desire to wrestle, whether it's my ego, whether it's my arrogance or my stubbornness or my pride, it's like, no, I fell in love with you. This is my sport. I did it the right way. I am going to do this. So whatever that was truly kept me alive in the wheelchair during the years I spent not being able to walk, during the years I spent not being able to stand for long periods of time, to run, to do anything. I was not living because of this disease. It wasn't the wheelchair itself, it was the disease that confined me. So to it was no question to get back involved with the business that I fell in love with. I was taking
Mm.
back. I know I fell in love with you and you killed me. So now I'm gonna survive and I'm gonna do this. And
Mhm.
so even if I'm too sick and I make a career as a manager, there's no shame in being a female Paul Heyman. You know, I can freaking own that shit. I can take that
Mhm.
and run with it. But um my love for wrestling is one of the reasons why I have survived this long with this disease. And I still haven't touched pain pills. I've refused the experimental treatments and I've only accepted a medical marijuana card. And I've been battling this disease holistically and organically. So that's where I stand right now as I re-enter wrestling. It's pretty wild.
Well, that's man, that's certainly some badass tough stuff. So good for you. In JCW, you embodied, this highly entertaining but flirtatious, disruptive ring rat persona. You've had so many memorable moments there already.
Thank
Flirting
you.
with the opponents and battle royals and taking big bumps. How did you develop this character, and what do you most enjoy about performing in front of that really rabid juggalo audience?
Good question. When I got involved with wrestling, I studied gimmicks. I became such a mark for the over louder, larger than life gimmicks. So like, I will always go back to like how Shawn Michaels would sell, like that over the top sell. So
Mm.
when I was offered this job, this is the biggest position I've been blessed with, like as a career to my career. So it truly is a blessing to be here, and I'm so thankful for this job opportunity. This is my first wrestling TV job, even no matter how big or small, And so when I was given this role, there was a little scandalous in a sense. Like I never speak on it a lot, but I'm very much new. But there was a lot of like whether they were wrestlers, whether they were no or just fans. Like there was people that did not understand the gimmick, and they were negative about it, but I am blessed to prove them wrong now. After a couple months' work, we've proven that this gimmick is actually pretty fun and exciting and a show stealer moment. And
Mm.
I'm too sick to fully wrestle like a full match, and I'm trying behind the scenes in the gym, in the ring. I am working really hard to get my body uh, to where I need to get to do a full match. But my character as the ring rat, I'm very much about studying footage when I get offered a role, regardless if it's modeling or acting. Like, I love character work. So with her, I studied groupies, like 1970s, 1960s, but also 1970s and 80s, particular rock and roll crazed groupies. If you study how those girls reacted when the band members would just be great, just walking by, the way that they would be unhinged. I feel like as a ring rat, she would be the ultimate groupie. And ring rats in wrestling have a lot of history that a lot of people ignore, but they were the women that were there for the wrestlers. Like, guys would go from town to town and they'd want to save their money. So what they would do is they would rely on these different women, and they would not only sleep with the wrestlers, but they would offer them food and shelter so they wouldn't have to go and buy a hotel or whatever. They were the all-time support system that wrestlers would go to back in the day. So I keep that in mind with her, but also I love the sexuality of how groupies to band members, like rock stars, were like gods to these girls back in the day. So I feel like where they were just willing to perform oral sex on a guy right there and there, like, as if they could just get their hands on that rock star, they would perform oral sex right there. So I feel like a mixture of that is what I try to bring to the table with her. And where I am a wrestler, I do like to do, like, okay, oh, let's do something funny, let's do something silly like that. But also I want to be able to take a move or give a move or something. And I think one of the last bits they had, like, one of the wrestlers, his name is a drug, and he took said drug and like powdered my butt with said drug, fate, and so just like moments like that is hilarious. And then it gets rudely interrupted, and I take a knee to the face. Oh no. And it's like, so I won by as a wrestler because I got to do a bit, take a move or give a move, and then you guys win by getting the butt and the drugs.
It's a win-win. That's
Everyone's happy.
yeah, that's brilliant. You can tell you've done some solid research on that. That's I think of, yeah, groupies when you think of the ravenous 80s, like glam, hair metal,
Yes.
Motley Crue groupies. Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely was accurate research that you've done. You've you've performed in front of the JCW faithful. We've all heard how rabid they are, and how enthusiastic, which is the best crowd to
Jay had me,
perform
my
in.
boss had me in the crowd night one when we were introducing my character. They approached me in the back and they're like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have you come through the crowd. And I'm like, bet, no big deal. So the production goes on, and then it's time for the show or whatever. And then they're like, okay, we're gonna place you. And I'm like, pardon? I was like, my spot is so mind you, I'm new to the juggalos, I'm new to this whole, like, the ICP crowd, like, I'm new, and here I am, like a sport goth Barbie, and you know what I mean, like, I'm a
Mm,
sporty Barbie. Shoot, I'm just Paige, I'm just a girl from Ohio. And there's that crowd, and they plant me in the crowd, and I think my spot was not, but like, I think it was the third or fourth act. So I was there for a minute amongst them, and it was that was night one. Hi, I'm here. My hair got pulled by some woman. It was wild. I was like, please get me out of here. No, it was great. No, the people around me were fine. It was when I got moved to another spot that everyone's like, who's this bitch?
yeah, sort of like a baptism of fire. What's the craziest crowd reaction, or aside from the hair pulling, or fan interaction that you've had thus far in JCW? And does that is it a notch or two above what you've experienced in, say, other indie companies that you've applied your trade in?
One of the most intense arenas was the ECW arena in my entire career, but no, JCW crowds are for sure like the most like, oh wow, this is intense. Like this is wild. This is TV. This is the big leagues. But no, I one of the most my debut being there amongst the crowd and everyone whispering, "Oh, she's a plant." Like they knew I was a plant. They knew I didn't belong. They're like, "Oh, she's part of the act." You know, they were whispering. So the crowd was great, but it was when the spot changed and I had to go over towards the hard cam or whatever the bit was. That crowd didn't know me, and some woman like ripped my hair out almost. And I was like, "Yo," um, but the crowd's reaction to the ring rat, to wanting to see her get involved, it became undeniable because like by even though it wasn't presented on TV, everyone was talking during tour, like the crowds, each city we were going to, they were they wanted, they're like, fuck her up next, you know, they were like, they really anticipated, okay, it kind of came a thing of, okay, what is she gonna do? Everyone anticipated, okay, I was gonna do something. Like so that was an exciting movement from the crowd and their reaction. I know when we just did that one spot on TV last week, when you saw the drug bit and then Carrie Morton came in and Need Me, that crowd reaction was beautiful. Like the way that they just like erupted. It's like all the men wanted to come and like destroy that piece of crap for, you know, how dare he hit a girl, you know, so being able to orchestrate and get the crowd's reaction like that has been so intoxicating and so fun. And I look forward to working at the end of February and getting that reaction. But honestly, my favorite fan reaction though had to have been at the Thanksgiving show when we were handing out turkeys and just like interacting with a couple of them. There were a few personal moments with a couple of them, and it was beautiful. I loved handing out turkeys with Jasmine St. Clair, and her and I were handing out the turkeys with Two Tough Tony, and wishing everyone happy Thanksgiving. That was fun.
Yeah, very nice. In terms of a couple of fan questions, I've got one that came in several different guises, but basically they're wanting to know about your experience working with the man who's elevated the profile of the promotion, one of the greatest writers of all time, Vince Russo, and
Yay!
yeah, and does that influence on the company? Do you feel that that has the combustible element to take JCW to that next level, so to speak?
Yeah, Vince, he's the thing is like it's hard putting me on the spot and saying this because it will come so unauthentic where he's my boss, but I mean this with the most genuine as I could as I could project this. He's like such a good guy, like a genuine good man. Like he he immediately found out about my story, about my struggles, trials, tribulation, and without hesitation, he put me on his platform. He put me on his podcast and wanted to tell people about CRPS, tell people about my Cinderella story, you know, tell people about, hey, this kid sacrificed and she's here now. Like, no hesitation. I didn't even have to ask. He, when he's on set, he's such a cool energy. It's like, oh, this guy's done stuff, you know? But when it's time to film the vignettes or whatever, he is like so hands-on and we have the script, but then he lets us just go with it, develop these characters. And he lets one of the favorite things I loved in theater was to improv and with a live audience. So then that projects to wrestling with the live audience, and he lets us go off script, he lets us develop these characters and understand our characters to how would our character respond to this scenario that he gives us. So I am thrilled to be working with him, and not growing up as a wrestling mark and then getting presented with him and learning who this man is and what he's done in the business. It's an honor to, like, as cringe as that sounds, it's an honor to be
Mm,
working with him. It's so cool to be getting to know him. And this guy literally is like becoming like a dad in a sense. Like, he, when he sees me, he's immediately like, "Hey, are you okay?" And like, he wants to, like, see, with CRPS, I'm in pain all the time. I have
mm,
so much pain. But I have pain sitting here in Ohio, or I could have pain at JCW and living out my dream and then just smiling. So when I go out there, they let me perform, entertain. I'm a professional. I've been trained to do this. Don't do this at home, kids. You know?
mm,
So I go
mhm,
out there and I do it. And then when I come back, it's 9 times out of 10, it's always Vince Russo that's right there. And he's like, "Are you okay?" Like, because of my disease. So he's concerned. He's like a dad, and it's such beautiful. But like, when he sees me, I'm like ear to ear beaming, grinning, instead of screaming, crying, exposing my disease and being like, "Oh my God, that was awful." I'm like a psychopath and I have a smile on my face. And he's like, "You okay, kid?" Like, what? And it's like, "No, this is so cool. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Cause I'm gonna hurt regardless. So why not do it with a smile on my face? I'm going to
mm,
be so thrilled to be here." And he gets that. He
mm,
doesn't question that. So
mhm,
he's a good guy, and I think he does have a good influence on JCW. Like, he's a good man. He is a professional. He's an artist, and he's expressing himself like a producer would, like a writer would. And then Jay's right there with him. How cool is it that these are my bosses, and
mhm,
there's they're so creative. They got these platforms, and they're making this, and I get to be a part of it. All right,
mhm,
thank you.
mhm,
I
mhm.
won't let
Yeah,
you down.
definitely a company on the rise for sure. Another fan question is asking this a deep cut, asking about the origin of the chainsaw deal.
Nice. Yeah. For That's a good question. Thank you for bringing it up, fan. I forgot the name immediately. I'm sorry.
It was a fan that sent the question before the
Yeah.
interview. Yeah,
Oh, sorry. I thought this was
yeah,
on the live. My bad. All right. So, for those that don't know, I made wrestling history by being the first female to wield a chainsaw back in 2016. So, like, my even though I was robbed of my career, didn't get to go and have years and years of matches and get to go and travel the world and stuff, I got put in a wheelchair. Boo hoo, like, got my disease. I was robbed of so much, but before that incident, I was the first female to wield a chainsaw, and that being able to do that before my accident meant so much to me, because I was such a big fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. And it wasn't just a fan of the film, it was the fan of I was a fan of the history behind the making of the film, and I was just very intrigued on how difficult it was for that to film to be made in general, and then the mafia had to get involved. So I always loved the OG Texas Chainsaw. And when I got involved with wrestling, and then the years I spent as a ballet, I always was the Black Dahlia, and of course that was from the Black Dahlia murder, so Elizabeth
mhm,
Short. So I always carried the Black Dahlia name, and I was the first ever wrestler to carry that name. I think one other person did it after me for a minute, but I was the first and only Black Dahlia. And then by 2016, I was trying to figure out what kind of character I was going to have out at Knox Pro. Rikishi was all about character, and um, I was stressing on how I could keep the Black Dahlia, but make it unique, make something that hasn't been done before. And that's when my friend Nathaniel from that, he's a wrestler, Evil Nate, the Chainsaw Nate. You guys look him up. He's a great guy. He's actually my caregiver to CRPS, but he was a big fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well. And he's like, "Hey, listen, no female in wrestling has ever carried a chainsaw. it's never been done before. It's not, you will make history. And I was like, fuck it, sold. Because, already a mark for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was like, let's do it. So Rikishi approved of it. And I became the first Chainsaw Queen, the first female. And then there's been a couple after me. And I'm like the second one. She goes by Chainsaw and she's at WoW. And she was the second female. She's like, such a good woman. I love her so much. Her and I are such good friends. So I do love when I see other females with chainsaws. It makes me so happy. But making history and being the first, and I know this is kind of like a fact, but also I'm waiting for someone to correct the person who told me this. But allegedly, with all that history at the ECW arena, you would think not. But allegedly, I am the first human, not just female, but first human to wield a chainsaw out at the ECW arena as well. And I'm like, oh my God, how did no one ever do that yet? And I did it.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah.
was fun. And I did it with the big Excalibur too, the big golden chainsaw. Ah.
Do you ever see that coming back for you down the road
The
in
chainsaw?
ACW? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good question. With the ring rat gimmick, who knows? You never know what she will do. She hasn't been named officially yet, but with the different post productions, post shows, the different things that they've brought the ring rat on, they refer to me as Paige. So I think I'm gonna keep my shoot name, but again,
Mm-hmm.
it's not official. But with her, if I can continue this, my shoot name is kind of already being used. So, okay, so I am a wrestler if I'm blessed enough to have a match. So, who knows? Who knows what could blossom with my health? So, could the Chainsaw Queen arise out of this? Maybe by the end of the year, sure. Like, who knows? Endless possibilities, but I would
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love that.
Yeah, definitely cool. Aside from the atmosphere with the crowd during shows, JCW and the Juggalo phenomenon is well known for being, a family, so to speak. A culture of loyalty and really community. I had the pleasure a couple of weeks ago of interviewing the first disabled ring card girl, PT Greek, great lady. She spoke of that family um, aspect that you don't really honestly see in many wrestling promotions. Period. Has that been your experience too?
I saw you guys make a post about her. I saw the like AI cartoon. That's really cool.
Mhm.
I'm glad that JCW is just so inclusive because coming from my dark past, coming from all my trials and tribulations that goes beyond what I've already mentioned today, I needed exactly what you just said. I needed that home feeling, that comfort, that security, that safety. And when I say, oh my gosh, I'm so blessed to be here and so happy to be here, I mean that. And it's not just because of the position JCW is or with my celebrity bosses, Violet J and Vince Russo. It's not just because of how cool that is and that status. It's the principle of the community from the camera crew, from all the different girls and guys in the back, from the production crew to the wrestlers to the other managers, and then to the fans, the ring card girls. Like everyone is genuinely kind and normal. And coming from such a toxic, abusive past, whether it was in my personal life, whether it's my wrestling experience, or just being trapped in that wheelchair and battling my disease, it is such a sad life I've had. So to come back into a toxic business like wrestling, coming into the entertainment world, terrifying, very vulnerable. Dear God, be nice. And then to have the opportunity of this being like my first job, and it's like, be nice. Oh my God. And to be lucky enough, fortunate enough that this is my job, these are the people. Oh, phew. Thank God. Hi, guys. Like, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes. Even when, say, my life blossoms even more and I go beyond and get a job somewhere else, I will always be saying this about JCW.
Yeah, that's extremely rare to say the least. Got another fan question, and we have some very smart fans on this channel. One asked about your opinion when WWE signed Matt Cardona. What a champion he was, is what a talent, and he's asking if you think that means that the WWE has JCW on their radar, and they're perhaps a little they're viewing JCW as competition. What were your thoughts on that whole high profile deal?
Matt Cardona is working with his wife now, and what a blessing that is as a human. So I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for his wife as a human, and I think they deserve those blessings. I think that eh, people would be stupid not to be watching. I think that in this business, 1,000%, everyone's watching. Everyone's watching everyone. Everyone's aware of everyone. And I think that wrestling is exciting again, if that makes sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of opportunities, and I do believe that people should be talking about JCW if they haven't yet. And I think I don't want to say I think, I know. And I've told both bosses this, let alone everyone that will listen to me in the back. I'm like, I don't just say this is my WWE. I say this because I believe in this company as well. Because like, just hold on to your panties, guys. Like, because shit's about to take off. Like this is about, you feel the momentum, even if you're not a fan, even if you are a naysayer, even if you're a poopy head. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
there's momentum behind this company, and there's a lot of exciting things going down. So just ride the ride this year and watch the magic happen for sure.
Mm-hmm. Another fan that is aware of your struggles and your injury and your comeback, etc., and found some inspiration in that, wants to know if would you I guess be happy doing what you're doing now, valet honor character, whatever that may be, or do you have it in your mind that you have to somehow make it back into um, wrestling again, or is that a nice to do but not an absolute must for you in your career going forward?
I think I touched on this earlier, but I'll put a bow tie in it. I am a professional wrestler, so of course, what got me out of that wheelchair, what got me to lose this 100 pounds, what got me to survive this disease without treatments, like for so long, was the idea of wrestling again, like having a full career. Now that I understand my disease, now that I went through my grieving process, I all but thought I was going to die and that be it. So I accepted death, but I want to live and I want to survive and I want to continue. So now that I'm maturing and growing and understanding, I realistically can probably only do one match. And the answer to that is I accept that my body is sick. I accept that even if I don't reach remission, or if I'm blessed enough to reach remission, this disease will be forever. But I, I know in my heart that I want at least one match. So where this is my job, I would love to continue. I would love to flourish. I would love to take JCW and push it to the moon. But along with that, if other jobs continue, like I will be the Paul Heyman, the female Paul Heyman. I will make that a thing, and I will make more history, so to speak. Make more wrestling history. So I
Mm.
will be humble and appreciative of a job as a manager, and I accept my role with my sickness. But let's have at least one match. And so behind the scenes, guys, I am training. I am in the ring. I am in the gym. I am fighting my disease while I'm training. And it makes everything so much more difficult, whether it
Mm.
is weight training or in ring activity. So I am training for one match. But say I reach remission and say my body becomes healthy and or if that makes sense. Like so I know I'm drawing out this, but this is such a good question. When I learned how to walk again in that year, I went to a Planet Fitness, and my walking at the beginning was only like 15 minutes, and then I was screaming, crying, vomiting, and I was trying to build a callus and learn how to stand and walk properly. So by the end of the first month, I was in there for 30 minutes every day. By the end of the second month, I was in there for 2 hours each day, standing and walking before I had enough. By the end of the year, I was in a Planet Fitness for 10 hours, learning how to walk and stand and build tolerance. So I videoed this. I didn't even know I had CRPS at the time. I videoed this and I documented every bit of that. So keep that in mind. It took an entire year to build a callus and learn how to get to that. And I thought I'd never be able to stand and walk for 10 hours like a normal human being. So I did the impossible. I proved the doctors wrong and I proved myself and my own doubts wrong. So right now, I'm just now getting into the gym, right? So in my head, I'm like, shit, I'm only going to have one match. You get one match out of me. But
Mm.
there's a, maybe there's something that I can, who knows? I've already done the impossible. So maybe there's another level of that and I can have a wrestling career. But right now that is very much impossible. And I don't think I'll ever physically be able to. And I humbly accept a manager job for sure. So if that makes sense, guys.
Yeah, 100%. Where do you see your career headed next, aside from more JCW spotlight? Do you have, if you're looking at a bucket list or dream goals, do you see yourself branching into other companies, acting? What are your I guess long term goals in the business?
Um in the business. So I mean, I've already started to dip my toe, as a manager in the business. So what I'm doing now is I I love I how do I explain this? I started doing acting again. I started doing modeling again. I started valeting and with valeting and in this business, I there's only so much that I see myself doing because my life is beyond wrestling at this point with my advocacy with CRPS because my whole goal and my whole purpose in life is to be able to buy a house, to be able to pay my bills, to be able to pay my medical bills, to be able to open. My goal is not to be like a WWE champion. My goal is to open a foundation for the sick. I want a facility where we can have research studies for rare diseases and so we can start having not only cures for sicknesses but also where we can raise money and help people that are financially unable to afford to be sick. So that is my passion and that's what I want. But in that small bubble of, oh, you mentioned wrestling, well, as I'm here, I want the job. I want whether Rikishi from the beginning always told us to go to WWE. So I want whichever is the most healthy and kindness company that would offer a role for sure. Like, because right now I'm very happy with JCW. I believe in us, and I'm gonna push them to the moon and work with them and really appreciate every moment I have with them. But if someone comes knocking and offers me a job, I just hope they're kind.
Well, if your current circumstance is any indication, you have a very bright future, no matter where you end up, at least in wrestling and definitely outside of wrestling. Paige, this has been an extremely interesting conversation. You're extremely eloquent and really have some meaningful insights, and we appreciate it. But where can the fans find you on social media or wherever to keep up with all your endeavors?
Right. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for giving me this platform to talk about my rare disease, let alone my first big girl wrestling job. Like, I'm so thrilled. But thank you. I'm on all platforms, guys, and with my brain fog, I can never remember my handles. So just know that I'm like active on Facebook, Twitter or X. I'm on Instagram. So just like, if you guys just see me on all social media as under my shoot name, Paige Collett, um, yeah, you'll be able to keep up with my story with JCW and what I'm doing with my character work, and then also the behind the scenes of me developing Wrestling with CRPS, which is a book and a documentary about this crazy story that you guys just got a taste of.
Mm-hmm. Tremendous. Well, I want to again thank you for your time. We'll keep in touch, and we'd love to have you back
Yeah.
when the book is available and any other milestones. Really appreciate you coming
Thank
on the
you.
show today.
Thank you for having
Well,
me. I'll come on anytime you guys ask. My book hopefully will be out at the end of this year, so I'll come back on then. And also, tell Maurice, give him my love. I absolutely adore that guy.
will do. About to do a show with him as well. And again, thank you so much
Yeah.
for your time. Fans, that's it for this
Thank
edition
you.
of the
Have a
Cheap
good night.
Production podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe the video, and we will see you next time. I'm Jack Kilby. See you at the matches. Thank you for watching this video. Please give it a like if you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at Cheap Heat Productions. Don't forget to hit the notification button, and you won't miss any of our upcoming interviews, recurring programs,